In this video, we're going to go over cutting glass and the different types of cuts you may encounter in doing your stained glass project. Let's get started. Ensure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Before we get started on our heart pattern, I want to go over a few cutting tips that I have learned through my journey in stained glass. So the first cut that we're going to talk about is the straight cut. So if you have a straight line, you're going to want to score your line. I use a saddle type cutter. This is a Toyo saddle TC20, I think it's a TC21 cutter. I'll put a link in the description below to this type of cutter. This cutter gives me a lot of control, and I'm very comfortable with this cutter. For cutting, you want to ensure that you've got your blade lined up on the inside of your line, and then I kind of keep it at a little bit of an angle, not straight up, but a little bit of an angle, and I use my finger to kind of help guide and kind of keep a straight line. You just want to put enough pressure to hear that little crunching sound. To go along that line. So now this will use your breaking pliers. It's got that line on the top, and you want to line that up with your score line. And once you get it on there, you line it up, press down, and it breaks right along that score line pretty evenly. Now the next type of cut is kind of like a wave cut. So again, same principle. You'll line it with on the inside of your line, and then you use your finger to kind of help guide. Just enough pressure. And you hear that nice little crunch sound going on. So again, you'll pick up your breaking pliers and put that line, that line that's on there, and begin to, it'll get you a nice small wave or concave type cut. Now the next cut is an actual kind of wave. So this will be a little bit more, a little bit harder cut for the fact that you've got a couple dips in here. So you're going to want to make sure you keep constant pressure on your cutter and not release your pressure, because you want to ensure that you get a good score line all the way down. So again, same principle. Inside of the line, use your finger to guide it, enough pressure. So now as you break this, you want to ensure that you just don't go in and crunch it. You want to just barely start putting pressure on it, because what you want to do is you want to try and see if that line's going to run all the way. So you just don't want to go in and break it. So just keep putting that pressure on, and there it went. So now you have that wavy cut in there. The next type of cuts we're going to cover are the curved cuts. You have your outer curve, and then you have your inner curve, and then also you have a deeper inner curve. I'm going to show you a tip that I use in order to get out these little bit deeper curve type cuts. Okay, to make this type of cut, you want to ensure that your body position is correct. So you want to ensure that you start on one side and you're able to move your body around that curve in one good motion. This is where the grazing pliers come in, where you are able to take that score line and hopefully break it off in one clean motion. So you want to grab it And then hopefully you want to break away and pull away at the same time. So now for this, it's got a little bit left on it, so it comes off easy. Okay, that is your outer curve. Now to do your inner curve, this is a more of a gradual curve, so this should be able to come out in one cut. So again, make sure you're at a slight angle, good pressure, and just follow along on the inside of that line. So again, you want to take your grazing pliers, start on one end. You just want to come in and just break. You just want to come in and start to get that score line going. Constant pressure and pull away, and it'll come right out. Now for these deeper cuts, this is a technique that was shown to me by another glass artist. It really has made it easier to get these deeper curve cuts out. I go ahead and I score the first main line, the one I actually want to come out, and then I will make follow-up scores, smaller scores inside the area that's going to be removed. So again, you want to make sure you're able to get around this curve all the way. Slight pressure. And around. So now that I've made that main score mark, so then I come in and I make smaller scores in a fashion that is just, you know, concave, but just so it just makes it a little bit easier to pull those pieces out. So as you're making these score marks, because you made this main score mark, so as you're making these, this actually begins to fracture around that area because of the additional pressure. So break and pull away. And again, break and then as you see that score mark moved, you can move your breaking pliers, pull away. Again, you see it start moving. You can move yours and it comes out. You may have a little bit left over, that's okay. And then you can grind the rest of that inside out a lot better. But that's how I do inside curves, into the deeper inside curves and the outer curves. So those are the type of cuts that you will probably run into as you do different projects. So just take your time and just find what works best for you when you're cutting your glass. Patience is needed, and sometimes you will get frustrated. Some glass breaks better than others, so the quality of your glass does have something to do with it on whether or not your breaks will come clean. And with that, we'll go ahead and start on the heart project. We're now back with our heart project. Now that we've learned about the different cuts that you might run into in the previous segment, let's go ahead and cut out our heart pattern. So we'll go ahead and we'll just start putting some gentle pressure, trying to get that score line to go along, and it did. So now we're gonna actually cut through here and get this one segmented off. Okay, that one should break off good too. There we go. Sometimes if you don't have enough glass to get the correct pressure, you won't be able to break it. So you may have to go on the reverse side and utilize that side. So now we'll go ahead and finish cutting these out. So the different cuts you'll come into play here is you got a small outer curve one here. This one's not too bad because it's just a very thin piece of glass in there. So the rest of these cuts won't be too bad. So let's go ahead and we'll just kind of pick up the pace a little bit through the cutting of these. We are now going to head and do our final two cuts, which will be on our arrows for our heart pattern, because they are so small, and this has some inside curves on it. I'm actually going to leave those and just use the grinder for those, because you can shape those a lot better than trying to cut them out, because these will be so thin they become very vulnerable. So I'll just use my grinder for those curvature areas. So now I can use my breaking pliers for basically one of these. Now the rest of these you'll have to use your grazing pliers. Okay, so that one will be able to be grinded. Same here. Okay, that is the last of the pieces we needed to cut for our heart pattern. Let's just do a quick dry fit on what we have. It won't fit in there exactly, but you'll get an idea that everything's kind of coming together. You'll kind of see now that we've got our pieces, and as we grind them, they should start fitting into place a lot better. I hope you liked that video. If you find the information valuable, ensure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get notified when I load new content. With that, I'll see you on the next video.